Hello and welcome to Fintech Today, where we get to meet the people driving the fintech revolution. I'm your host, Matt Hyde from Recruit One to One, a specialist in finding the best talent in the finance and tech sector. Today, we're joined by Daud, a director of investment banking for Peel Hunt, who is also one of the sponsors for the recent Fintech Awards London. So welcome, Daud. How are you doing?
I'm very well, Matt. Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to this.
Excellent. Well, maybe we could get straight into it, really. Can you tell us what your main focus is at Peel Hunt?
Yeah, absolutely. So Peel Hunt is a UK-focused mid-market investment bank. My job, I joined Peel Hunt earlier this year, mainly to kind of focus around the technology sector. And one of those subsectors within that is obviously fintech. My main role within that technology franchise at Peel Hunt is to first look at finding great companies in the UK, great scale-up companies within the fintech sector and a broader sector. Help those companies from an advisory standpoint in terms of later stage private capital raises, either equity or debt. We have capabilities for both at Peel Hunt. And then for companies looking to IPO into the London Stock Exchange, advising them onto that listing, and working with the London Stock Exchange, working with other advisors, etc., lawyers, accountants, etc., to get the business the best listing possible.
So really quite a broad remit then, really working from those startups right up to those unicorns that everyone wants to reach then.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's important to note that even though we start probably what we'd call probably Series B, Series C type of funding, to get to know those companies, we really have to start probably Series A and before that as well. So we try and build a relationship with companies as they're growing, understand them, connect with them, create a trusted relationship, and then as they need funding in their later stages, we'll be there to help them through that.
Excellent. Thank you. So we can really see there that Peel Hunt are really trying to work and support the fintech sector. Are you investing in any other ways then to really make sure that what you offer to the fintechs you work with can really help them?
Yeah, absolutely. So very recently we hired an analyst from Goldman Sachs who spent 12 years at Goldman Sachs. His name is Gotham Pillay, and he's been a fintech analyst. He's come to Peel Hunt to add his expertise, his advice, his knowledge of the sector for Peel Hunt, but also for potential clients at Peel Hunt and for these scale-up businesses.
So it's really, we can see it's really important, isn't it? Not just to, in a sense, say you've got to support people, but that investment as well. And people like him, as we know, are leaders in their fields. So that's really great to hear. So we can see that you're incredibly busy working with all these companies. Things are going incredibly well, but we're now post-pandemic. So how do you feel the London economy has fared since we've come out of it? And maybe how do you think it's going to go over the next 12 months?
Absolutely. So I think obviously there's a lot of macro issues that we're facing, not just in the UK, but globally, around interest rates and inflation. We obviously have the war in Ukraine. This ultimately has to have an impact on the economy and businesses, and particularly kind of scale-up businesses that require funding, that are trying to grow and therefore potentially have loss-making businesses today that want to be growing into profitable businesses in the future. So one of the things is that we're obviously seeing that seed funding for companies have slowed down in the last couple of quarters. But we are seeing that later stage fundings are still there, potentially at lower valuations, but still growing businesses. I think a lot of the focus for these businesses is to really understand how quickly they can move towards profitability, how to reduce costs, but to continue to grow the business. And that's where kind of advisory firms like ours are useful, particularly where fundraising becomes difficult, and they need a strategic partner to help them through those times. So I still have a very optimistic outlook that London, and particularly in the fintech world, has some real global dominance. There's some great firms that are coming out of the UK and out of London. I don't want to just focus on London, but it's kind of a national phenomenon. And I think we do lead the world in some of that technology. So we need the right partners to help these companies get through some difficult times and get them through the next few rounds of funding and get them hopefully to list on the London stock market and show that we are world leaders.
Excellent. So I think we would all agree that, yeah, we've got some challenging times ahead of us, but actually having great companies, having great support, ones like yourself, can really help the companies that are there now that are growing to continue to grow, even through maybe just some difficult periods. Now, we mentioned earlier on that you were one of the sponsors at the recent Fintech Awards London, that you were Company of the Year. Was there any real reason why you got involved with, I suppose, those awards and chose that particular award?
Yeah, absolutely. So as I said, I joined Peel Hunt this year, and one of my remits is to kind of build relationships with scale-up businesses, and particularly within the fintech industry. I looked at the sponsors, the main sponsors for the Fintech Awards, such as the London Stock Exchange itself. They're on the judging panel. We had Tech Nation on the judging panel, both institutions that I know very well. And this was actually one of the attractions to the Fintech Awards, that even though it's been its inaugural year, that is already starting from a very strong platform. And a platform like this is necessary for companies, fintech companies in the UK and in London, to showcase their talents. And it's something that we need to promote, because we need to be able to show the world, show the country that we have great companies that are building great businesses, and they need support. And the reason for sponsoring is essentially to provide that support. In terms of sponsoring, Fintech Company of the Year, the important thing there was that, as I said, we're focused on the latter stage companies, potentially even the listed companies, in providing them advice. And that category really kind of tailored to those type of businesses that were in that kind of latter stage of success, and showing that they've got real success being shown through.
Thank you. So, thinking of the London Fintech Awards London, do you think events like that are really important then, for not just for highlighting London or the companies, but actually for the ecosystem, bringing people together?
Absolutely, it's a great networking opportunity. It's a great forum to get everyone together. For the awards on a single night, or even during kind of FinTech Week London, being able to have companies present themselves, talk about issues, and actually people to get together to kind of think, what are those issues? How can we resolve them? How can everyone help? Because ultimately, we're all here to help each other be successful.
Yeah, definitely. So, thinking of Peel Hunt, we've heard that obviously Peel Hunt are very much looking at fintech today, bringing in people like yourself. Well, what sort of Peel Hunt's plans to support the fintechs of the future?
Yeah, so Matt, as I said before, we're here to support the life cycle, the evolution of these businesses from the moment that they kind of start through to requiring funding, whether that be equity or debt funding, in order to scale their business, up until the point where they either want to exit through a trade route, or they want to list onto the London Stock Exchange. And that requires not just ad hoc advice at certain points during that evolution, but really to kind of sit with those businesses as they evolve through their various stages. And the important thing is that these fintech companies need a trusted partner throughout those stages, and Peel Hunt want to be that trusted partner as they scale up.
So finally, Daud, maybe we could just ask two final questions. One, what has been the best advice that you've been given? And secondly, what advice would you give?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Matt. So in terms of the best advice given to me is that is to basically remain optimistic about these businesses. Businesses don't grow in a straight line trajectory. They have their ups and downs, and you have to live through the downs as well as the ups. So the best advice given to me is to stick with companies and create that trusted relationship for as long as possible if you believe in the company. And my best advice to scale ups, particularly in this environment, is yes, there's some difficult times around at the moment, but remain true to what your business is. If you truly believe that this is a disruptive technology, an interesting space, then pursue that, and allow your partners to help you. Whether it be Peel Hunt or anyone else, but look for help, look for advice. Don't retrench, because the worst thing you can do disruptive world of tech is to retrench, because you get lost. Then you really have to keep pushing forward with discipline and with the right partners.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Well, Daud, it's been wonderful to meet you. We look forward to catching up again and wish you all the best. Speak soon.
Thanks very much, Matt. Thank you.